Hello, my name is Bozo, and I like drawing comics, and I don't like talking. This is my daily working stream. I usually set up about an hour stream or so to work on comics. The current comic project I have is a comic called Bad Neighborhood, a working title. It's a Resident Evil 2 inspired comic. Um, Another zombie genre inspired comic. It doesn't follow it very closely. It's inspired, I guess, as I said. And currently, I'm working on page 24 of the comic. We got a pretty much good advancement on it. We're just going to go ahead and drop just some of the gray tones and add the lettering in, and then we're going to move on to the next page. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to work. Just one funny detail I mentioned in the previous stream. The beret Leon is wearing right here changed colors. It was originally white when I was showing it on Marlene, but when she gave it to Leona, it turns blue. Just something funny, but I'll just keep it at that, just because it looked better on Marlene when it's white, and on Leona, since her uniform is blue or gray, as you can see right here, just looks better in that color. I didn't do the story recap at the beginning of the beginning of the stream, but basically, I mean, Resident Evil 2, they're at the police station now. They met Marvin, which is Marlene. Everybody's gender bent for fun reasons. Main antagonist right now is going to be the police chief, Police Chief Ironwood. It's a woman this time, just because everybody's gender bent. So she's going to be the main antagonist right now. Current plans I have right now for the comic is going to be to sort of just wrap up this chapter up in the next about couple pages or so. Hopefully in the next like 2 or 3 pages, or hopefully in the next 2 pages if I can do it. That way I can get this posted up on webcomic hosting sites. At least the 2 I saw, they kind of require you to upload a complete chapter, or else you can't do it like back in the days where you can just like upload a page at a time. I mean, I think it might be. I think they have a point. If I upload a chapter, I think it just might. At least you can read the whole chapter, even though whoever's been coming to these streams or watching, watching them after the fact, You can see what's kind of going on, and I just basically give spoilers all the time of what I'm thinking about doing. So yeah, I mean, Marlene's not going to make it. I did mention on the previous stream that I was thinking of maybe giving her like kind of like a zombie revenge arc against the police chief, where she's kind of a somewhat sentient zombie, like Day of the Dead, I believe was the Romero from the third one, where they're in the base and there's that kind of smart zombie, something along those lines, and she goes out trying to hunt down, Police Chief Ironwood to just, exact her revenge on her for killing, her comrades and those civilians that were huddled up in the police station. And kind of not maybe helping Leona or Clarence, but really just kind of not attacking them, I guess, or maybe not ever coming in contact with them. I don't know. I just thought that would be kind of like a cool little thing, a zombie that kind of still remembers, a grudge and actively tries to go out and take that person out. I don't know. That's just something I just thought with Marlene. I thought it could be something cool rather than just follow Marvin's path and she just dies, comes back as a zombie later, and she gets killed as a zombie by Leona or something like that. I don't know. That's just something I've been working with in my brain for the meantime. For the blood for her, I'm just gonna do a darker shade of gray. I mean, because I was thinking about doing blacks, but a black color, I don't know, just looks really messy. It just makes everything look a little bit messier than usual. Hey Liam, what's up? So yeah, I think I'm just gonna probably do a darker color for the blood that for her injury. Besides her mouth, I mean, on the mouth it looks fine. It's not too messy, but I was originally going to have on the hand on this panel blood coming out, but it just made everything look messier than it already is. Nothing much, same old, just working and then going to sleep and going back to work, working on stuff here, working on stuff in real life. It's just day in, day out. The same old, same old. I think for this other panel, since it's kind of an emotional panel with Leona kind of grating her teeth here, I think I'm not going to use too many tones here, probably just around kind of like the shadows covering her eyes or something along those lines. Alrighty, so that's looking pretty done with the gray colors. Let's go ahead and start lettering this up, and hopefully get the whole next page storyboarded out, and hopefully maybe draw a little bit of the first panel out. I do want to try and wrap up this chapter up so I can go ahead and post it, since most of the comic hosting websites now kind of require a full chapter being posted to publish. So let's go ahead and letter this out. So we got some progress right there. Just, Leona. Marlene gives her her beret, that her uniform was incomplete. She's got a complete uniform now, and she's not going to be needing that anymore because she's going to die. And then just Leona just saying something dumb like she's going to, that she's actually going to survive. But, Marlene pretty much knows that she's not going to make it. And just kind of encouraging her to worry about herself and, take out Ironwood. Yeah, that's what I named the police chief. Just to kind of pressure her on to, I wouldn't say grow up, but kind of like, the situation's pretty tough. So don't worry about those you can't save. I guess something along those lines. I don't know. No worries, no worries. This is just a chill draw stream. I don't talk very much, anyways. So yeah, no worries, no worries. Good luck with your friend. Alrighty, something like that, like worry about yourself and about Ironwood. Worry about yourself and Ironwood, that's an order, just kind of trying to encourage her to move on, She just knows she's not going to make it. All right, and then these two little bubbles are going to be the trickier ones. Kind of just they just changed subjects into, you know, the West Hall zombies. I don't know, something along the lines of, you know, I should have believed Christina about, you know, the monster she said that she saw at the mansion. The West Hall is filled with the monsters. I don't know. They're gonna be like liquors or something along those lines. Go ahead and fill those out and finish up this page. Along the lines of, I don't know, about the West Hall, the zombies we killed on the West Hall, I don't know, got stronger, kind of like the Crimson Heads in the Resident Evil 1 remake, but they mutated. I don't know, like, because I think that was the thing with the Crimson Heads. They become lickers or something along those lines. I don't remember the lore correctly around them that much right now, but I think it was something like that. You know, regular zombie gets downed, and if they don't get burned, they turn into a Crimson Head, and I believe the Crimson Head is the one that evolves into the liquor. I might have that wrong though, but you know, it's fortunately that's not something they ever brought up again in the games outside of the Resident Evil 1 remake. So something like that. Yeah, something like that. I remember too, yeah, because like they had the whole mechanic where you had to burn the bodies, or else, you know, they would wake up a certain amount later with you know, the Crimson Head mutation or whatever. They just become faster and more aggressive. It's a shame they didn't use that in, like, you know, the newer Resident Evil remakes, but I guess they just would have made the game too hard, I guess. something along those lines. It's like the zombies we killed there, the next speech bubble, came back stronger and changed or something. I keep confusing myself because in the other times when I was working on this comic and I was trying to do the visual novel, I had written scripts out and I specified in that script that they only get down with headshots. But yeah, I keep confusing that too, and I keep like mumble jumbling the different iterations of this comic and scripts there were. So I just need to sort of keep that in mind. Kind of do want to bring that whole plot point that Leona didn't sleep the night before her first day on the job, but I don't know where I can bring that back up now. Probably just maybe add like an extra page at the beginning of this chapter, kind of just bringing that up. I thought that was a good thing. I thought that was like something I liked, but that's just something that came out on the second draft after I had a couple of pages drawn for this. Trying to dodge comic drawing. Like that kind of sets up a good page turner panel, I guess, kind of that kind of want to make you keep going, about the West Hall, the zombies we killed there came back stronger. Leona has to go there now, and Clarence has to go over there right now to that area where they killed a bunch of zombies, but they came back a little bit stronger and more mutated. So that's where we're going to go next in the next panel, where Marlene's kind of explaining, the zombies over there are different now. We shot them up, they went down, but after a while they got back up, more aggressive. Alright, so this one's looking complete. Let's go ahead and start storyboarding the next page. I think first panel, yeah, should just be Marlene is just elaborating on those stronger zombies in the West Hall. Something along those lines. Could honestly probably, if I just play it right, I can probably just end this chapter on this next page. We kind of set up, that the West Hall has more dangerous zombies, and that police chief is the main antagonist and is going to be hunting them down. Yeah, something like that. something along the lines of like, oh, they came back stronger, and some of them changed and became different. Some with like big claws and long tongues or something like that. I did think about like a talker zombie. I think I think Resident Evil 9 had a kind of like a talking zombie. Like they kind of like still acted out kind of like what they were doing when they were still alive, which is George Romero idea, with the zombies still going to the mall. But I think this kind of one kind of just like talking zombie, kind of like muttering, kind of like kind of the idea is like kind of like to lure survivors in to kind of want to get closer to it and talk to it, and then maybe attack, or kind of like the boomer, I guess, where they kind of attract the survivor and then just kind of point out where that survivor is. So kind of yeah. I mean, I'm kind of trying to go into a special infected now, but I know I can probably just only use maybe one special infected at a time. I think the talking zombie would kind of work like the witch a little bit, like a Left 4 Dead. Well, but instead of like she's crying, she's just like muttering, kind of like a panicking survivor. I think that would probably be about the closest thing about, but like a witch basically. And smokers, kind of like the liquor, this kind of version of it, something like that. And I know I could probably just use maybe like one at the most, like can use them once basically, for like a plot point, or if I need them, if I need to, like, then I can't just have them all the time, just because I feel it's just gonna become like not as fun. Kind of use them situationally. Probably the talking one is probably gonna be about maybe the one I'm maybe gonna use first, but yeah, I don't know. That's just something, I'm setting it up for the next chapter. I want to also bring up, I think Clarence has been too much in the background for these past couple pages. Kind of bring him a little bit into the foreground right now, so I can just kind of lead on to this panel being something like, oh, Christina told me about those monsters. She said, we need to burn the corpses or something like that so they don't keep mutating. Although, logically that kind of doesn't make sense, just because, I remember the T-virus kind of just like, the more damage it gets, the more mutated it goes. I know the zombies have to die, because, if they didn't die, if they just kept mutating, even though, after Crimson Heads 2, they would just be getting too strong. Like all the last bosses, they kind of just keep mutating. So something like that. I need to put something with Christina, because I think I've been ignoring Clarence too much in these couple pages, especially since there was already a mention that Christina's been missing. I'm just gonna probably put it over there that probably the Parasol Corporation took her, kidnapped her or something. something to lead on, or just, you know, bring Clarence into the foreground right now. He's just been kind of like standing around watching these two just talk about other things besides what's important to him, which is his sister. I could probably just have like them say, you know, the Moon's office is also in the West Hall. Christina left like some report, a detailed report about the monsters that she saw, and, you know, they match, some of them match with the description, you know, some of them match with the things we've seen, you know, in the West Hall with these special zombies. And then just kind of bring her back and bring Clarence up a little bit more into the foreground. Now that, you know, Leona has her kind of quote-unquote mission, kind of bring something up into Clarence, you know, because his mission's basically over. He knows his sister's not there, has been missing, but something to sort of lead on to that. Alright, so something like she's... like, oh, just like Christina's report said, some of the monsters, some of the zombies, grow stronger with physical damage, something along those lines. And I don't know, something to bring Clarence back into the picture. No, this is kind of not a difficult one, but sort of just trying to think about how, he's been quiet these past couple pages. This is a weird one. I mean, I kind of just don't want to make Clarence suddenly, have like reaction time, like super long reaction time. Like, what do you mean she's missing? They mentioned that, a couple pages ago. I don't know. I'm thinking about how I can smooth it back into the current page about Christina's disappearance. I'll probably have Marlene say something like, oh, if I go missing, Parasol got me, something along those lines. Something like that, kind of a shot of Clarence. I mean, I feel he's kind of like too dumbfounded right there, but I guess he's more stone-faced. But yeah, just kind of like Kirk's explaining, if I ever disappear, like I used to think she joked around when she said that, I am starting to believe, maybe Parasol did kidnap her, something along those lines. Something like, you know, before she went missing, she told me such and such thing. And I don't know, that document's in the West Hall or something like that. I don't know. I'm thinking about like something to have Clarence's mission be reignited or keep going, basically. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of maybe having Marlene give him like a fetch quest. And I don't know, oh, she hit a USB drive or, you know, some kind of file somewhere in her office that, you know, all the other evidence was destroyed, but she told me, you know, in case she ever went missing to get that evidence so that, you know, it could be used against Parasol. Something along those lines, I think, would probably give him a little bit more mission. Yeah, I know, right? Something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to get him back in action. Just because, you know, since the sister's not there anymore, it's kind of like, what's the point? Yeah, I mean, kind of like, yeah, I think the premise is like the evidence they submitted was all like destroyed or something like that, but she had a copy like saved somewhere. And she told Marlene, which I guess they're good friends or whatever, you know, if I go missing, you know, look for this evidence and, you know, use it against Parasol, you know, something like that. Trying to think about how it would fit in words. And kind of silly though that she'd be hiding, you know, the last copy of some evidence in the actual police station where she worked. kind of dumb, but I guess, you know, be like the last place they would look. You know, I think they would check her home first. But I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, I think realism sometimes doesn't work that well for stories, especially stories with zombies and other funky stuff. I don't know, should I make it a USB drive or just make it some older form of media? Like, oh, she left like a floppy disk behind with all the information. I don't know, I think a floppy disk would probably look cooler than just like a USB stick. I don't know, something along the lines about, you know, all the evidence disappeared about the mansion incident, but before she went missing, she told me she left a copy of the evidence, you know, disguised as something else, so they wouldn't know what it was. So it's like I don't know, it's like a floppy disk of doom or something like that. And you know, I was trying to get it, but I wasn't able to. You know, get through the West Hall's monsters, and then she got shot. So you know, it's kind of his little fetch quest now to go get that, and ensure, you know, that, you know, the evidence gets to where it's supposed to go. But yeah, you know, disguised as a copy, and I was trying to get there. That's gonna be the next couple pages or so, the next couple panels. Just her saying, you know, that she was gonna go over there, but you know, the West Hall special infected zombies, and you know, that she got shot. That he needs to get that evidence, you know, because it was, you know, Christina's wish that, you know, that Marlene took that and, you know, took that higher. I don't know. Took that higher because that's when she suspected that the police chief is working with Parasol, because all the evidence got destroyed. Just to kind of think about a shot. What shot is it going to be? I just do just like a profile shot of Clarence capturing this information, since this is more relevant to him now than it is to Leona. Something like that. I was gonna go get it, but the Moon's office was in the West Hall, which was infested, and then I got shot, and then just kind of, I don't know. Last panel can just probably be Marlene's face, kind of like giving him the mission. I don't know. She's the mission giver now. She gave Leona the mission to kill her boss, and she's giving this guy a mission to go get that copy of Doom, which is actually just the evidence of the mansion incident disguised as a Doom copy. Alrighty, so yeah, so this page, we set up there's going to be special infected, crimson heads, lickers, whatever other special zombies I can think of at the moment. Just like Christina said, and we're bringing Clarence back into the picture. She's giving him a mission too. He needs to go pick up that copy of Doom, which has encrypted files of the mansion incident, because she wasn't able to get it, and Christina asked her to, but she's dying now. So, who better to entrust it to than her, Christina's little brother. So, yeah, so that's what we got. I'm going to end it up for tonight. We're going to come back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit earlier, and start drawing this page out. It's all right. You guys stay safe out there. Bye-bye. See ya.